Today I'm going to talk about a requested book, a book that one of our viewers / one of my friends requested that I talk about. So this is The Summer That Melted Everything by Tiffany McDaniel. I'm going to be real honest that this book definitely left me shook, but not entirely in a good way. Like partially in a good way, but not entirely in a good way. And when I say not in a good way, I don't mean like it really gave me the feels and made me sad. I mean like I had like problems with some of this book. Summer That Melted Everything is about a sleepy backwater town in Ohio in 1984 where an attorney, who is the father of our main character, summons the devil. And the very day that he summons the devil, this strange young boy, about 13 years old, shows up. Nobody can identify him, nobody can find his parents, and he claims to be the devil. Suddenly, it's the hottest summer of all time, and all sorts of strange stuff starts happening, and so the book is spent kind of trying to figure out who this kid is, and is he really the devil? I'm going to start right off the top with the big issue that I have with this book, which is that there's a lot of suicide in it, and it can be very triggering for anybody who has ever been seriously suicidal or who is suicidal now. Even more than that, there is a scene in this book in which the kid who is supposedly the devil convinces somebody else to commit suicide. A lot of you who are watching this may already know that I attempted suicide myself when I was in college. And reading that scene was very difficult for me because I knew that if I had read the words that that kid said to the guy who committed suicide, if I had read those at a time in my life when I was feeling really suicidal, those words would have stuck with me and they would have been going over and over through my head. I genuinely believe that, at least for me, the words written in this book would have pushed me farther in my intent. Now, I'm not the kind of person to ever tell anybody that you shouldn't read something or engage with something because it's triggering. I'm just saying this because I want anybody who has had those feelings and those intentions to know that that's something that's there and something that could be triggering. And I need to tell you that what this boy says is not true. Take it from someone who's been there. So now that I've gotten kind of emotional and gone through all of the stuff about this book that I didn't like, I want to talk about the stuff that I did like. The main thing that I really liked is that this person who is the devil wasn't wholly evil. I mean, I guess you could argue that those things that he said were evil, but the point, of course, of this book is that there isn't a clean break between good and evil. The world isn't black and white, it's shades of gray. This kid who supposedly is the devil does a lot of really good stuff and helps a lot of people. So that's something I think is sort of amazing, and I think it's really brought to life by some of the really beautiful writing that is in this book. So I'm going to read one of those sections to you. This is the attorney character that I mentioned to you earlier. When glass is whole, it's good. When it's broken, it's bad. It's swept up, it's thrown away, sometimes thrown away too soon. Think of a window, Sal said. Imagine a violence breaking that window. All those shards of broken glass fall to the floor. The violence is inside the house now, wrestling you. It could kill you, so you grab one of the shards and stab. The violence dies, and you are saved. Saved by the broken glass. Isn't that a funny thing? To be saved by the bad. Sometimes not sweeping that bad up and throwing it away will save you in the end. It just might. So to defend the evil means defending the good of the bad. That's what I was doing, Fielding. Hoping that all of these folks are just shards of broken glass, and one day in the future, they'll save someone by being just that. But that passage and the overall message of the book about the gray areas between good and evil really got me thinking about my experience when I was about these kids' age. When I was in middle school, I was bullied, and I recently just had a really interesting conversation with one of my very good friends who is now married to somebody that I went to school with, whom I didn't necessarily have a great relationship when I was in school with. And she's also, through that marriage, related to these two twins who, when we were in middle school, were very mean to me. And my friend said to me, she was like, yeah, everybody tells me that they were so mean when they were kids, but she said, but did you ever hear about what they were going through at home? And I was like, no, I have no idea. So she told me a little bit about their home life and their relationship with their mother, and I was floored and saddened for them. And the thing is, I talk a lot about being bullied in middle school, but I was also a really nasty kid, and I bullied some people myself. But I always give myself a little bit of a free pass because I'm like, well, I was having a really hard time at home, and I was quoting to other people what I was hearing at home. Yeah, sure, every time I make that justification to myself, I think, well, those other people were probably also having trouble at home. But it never landed with me in a visceral way until I actually heard some of the details of that. It was like my compassion for all of my bullies was really half-assed at first until I really got the details and understood that their situation was actually a lot worse than mine was. And really, I think that's at the heart of this story, is that we just don't have everybody's perspectives and everybody's stories all the time. It's so easy to judge people as evil or bad when we don't have that information, when in fact what we need to be doing is practicing imagining that information without it having to be put in front of us. Okay, Jacob, this has been a super heavy video, but I want to know, whenever you get the chance and you're able to come back to the channel, I want to know what you think about good and evil, and how do we practice this compassion for people? I know that's something that you actually are particularly good at, so I really want to hear what you have to say. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll see you next time.